The evidence is in. Azerbaijanis hate Armenians. It's not about just pushing them off their land. They want them dead. They want them gone. The report is in. Definitive proof, at least very, very strong evidence. Also, Google, I've discovered evidence that Google is absolutely censoring bombshell news about the United States election. Welcome to Sovereign Artsakh. I'm not Armenian, but I believe in truth and justice, and that's the whole point of this channel. So, without further ado, I am going to go to this article toward the end of this. So if you care at all about the U.S. election, today is a very important day. This article, Texas, a new lawsuit. There's countless lawsuits out there now about Trump and Trump supporters suing over the election results. And this one, Texas sues Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin at Supreme Court over election rules. Bombshell news. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Armenian Artsakh ombudsman released new joint report on Azerbaijani atrocities. First of all, this picture is, if you're familiar with this channel, you'll be familiar with this picture. This is the church in Shushi that was bombed at the beginning of this 44-day war between Azerbaijan and Artsakh. But they've released a report. I'm not going to read this article. I'm just going to go straight to this report. You can go to this website, Armen Press, go to this article and click on this. I've already clicked on it. And here it is. Human rights defender of Armenia, the Human Rights Ombudsman of Artsakh, ad hoc public report, organized hate speech and animosity towards ethnic Armenians in Azerbaijan as root causes of ethnically based torture and inhuman treatment by Azerbaijani armed forces, September through November 2020. That's the war, September 27th through November 9th. This is a 72-page report, so obviously I'm not going to read it all, but I am going to just go give an overview. Basically, it analyzes Azerbaijan or Azerbaijani press and social media leading up to and during this war. Let's just go to a couple quotes from, what's his name? Ilham Aliyev. So it's a long report. It's kind of repetitive because it's just repeating these are the bad things they say about Armenians in Azerbaijan, and it's supported by public officials, it's supported by the government, it's supported by media figures, celebrities, sports stars. Here's the main quote from the man at the top. Armenia is a country of no value. He's not talking about Artsakh here. He's talking about Armenia, as I've contended. Before I continue, please subscribe and share. This is important information to get out to those of your friends that have no idea what's really going on the other side of the world. Spread the word. I'm trying to do it. Armenia is a country of no value. It is actually a colony, an outpost run from abroad, a territory artificially created on ancient Azerbaijani lands. This is a tweet. All the documentation is in this report. It's not just something made up. This is a tweet from Ilham Aliyev. This is a quote from the tweet. The actual screenshot of the tweet is later in the report. This is a top man, the top man in Azerbaijan, the boss. They call him the president, whatever. President means you're elected by free and fair elections. I won't go into that. But the nature of propaganda is to take the truth and say the opposite. Armenia is actually a colony artificially created on ancient Azerbaijani lands. It's a colony artificially created on ancient Azerbaijani lands. There's no such thing as ancient Azerbaijani lands. There's just no such thing. Armenians have been on that land. Look at this map over here. This is a historical map. I've been researching this thing for only 3 years, but it goes way, way back. I mean, here it's back 3000 BC, all the way over here. And this is modern day over here, but the history of ancient Azerbaijani lands. This is Armenian land. This is ancient Armenian land. Okay. But it's propaganda, clearly. And when you are an authoritarian and have absolute authority and control over your people, over your media, then you can say what you want and create false beliefs among your people, among your populace. So you take the truth and you say the opposite. We expect that from the top dog, but certainly it influences everybody in the culture. Let me just jump down to, all right. So here's a historical example or an example of how the mistreatment or the hatred or the killing and murder of Armenians is glorified in Azerbaijan. A very explicit example is the appalling case of a member of the Azerbaijani army, Ramil Safarov, who brutally murdered an Armenian officer, Guren Margarian, while he was asleep by decapitating him with 16 blows of an axe during the night of February 19th, 2004 in Budapest. This is in Hungary. On the 13th of April, 2006, the Budapest City Court found Ramil Sarov guilty of premeditated murder of Guren Margarian and preparation for murder of another Armenian soldier, Haik Makuchian. After Saravov transferred to Azerbaijan, he was immediately granted a presidential pardon, set free, promoted to the rank of major during the course of public ceremony, awarded 8 years of salary arrears, and given a flat or an apartment. He was declared a national hero of Azerbaijan by virtue of the fact that he killed a person of Armenian origin. Azerbaijani state officials praised the actions of the murderer and went as far to pardon the criminal and grant him a hero's welcome after his extradition from Hungary. Garin Pashayeva, a member of Azerbaijani delegation to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe of that period, also a member of the Parliament of Azerbaijan, declared, Ramil Safarov has been released. Congratulations, Azerbaijani people. We are grateful to the president of the country for returning Safarov and for pardoning him. All right. So this is a glorification of a murderer, of a terrorist who killed a man because he was Armenian in his sleep. Let's go down to another one of these so it gets into, there's the Aliyev tweets. It gets into some of the celebrities. All right, now I want to, this report is broken up in this section. This is section 2, hate speech and animosity by cultural, sports, and other figures of Azerbaijan. The screenshot of Nurlan Ibrahimov, a public relations and media manager of the Azerbaijani football club, Karabag, wrote on his Facebook page. Now, football obviously being soccer, and that's a huge, huge sport in most other countries than the United States. It's gotten more popular here, but this is these stadiums fill with fans. This isn't just some sidelined character. This is a public figure of celebrity status. We must kill the Armenians. It does not matter whether a woman, a child, an old man. We must kill everyone we can. We should not feel sorry. We should not feel pity. If we do not kill them, our children will be killed. He also justified the fact of Armenian genocide committed by Turkey. All right. Let me just say, in my research, this is the refrain, the common refrain from 100 years ago, and I'm sure from before that. If we do not kill them, our children will be killed. They testified in the trial of Solomon Talerian, one of the Armenian priests who survived the massacre, had personal conversations with some of the Turkish military authorities, and this was the refrain. And not only did they say we have to kill the Armenian children because when they grow up they'll kill us. Not only did they say that, but they emphasized that the more suffering that we induce upon them, the torture, and the more malicious the killing, the happier Allah will be with us and the greater our reward. So it's not just the killing, it's the brutal torture and killing. And that's reflected in this. If you read this, they say torture them as well. I don't want to read all of this, but these are all public figures in Azerbaijan talking about, basically it's racism. Azerbaijanis are racist toward Armenians. It's an ethnic superiority, that they believe they are superior to Armenians and that Armenians are the enemy, that Armenians are evil. I just want to point out one last piece of propaganda that is familiar to anybody who's been watching this from the beginning. Where is it? Where is it? I don't want to get you sick. There it is. This one right here. This is a little bit distorted, but let history play out properly this time. I think it was one of the, did I do it on this channel? Maybe I didn't. Maybe it's on my other channel, Tales of Truth. But this is what inspired me to even start this channel, this piece of propaganda. This guy on the left is Talat Pasha, the architect of the Armenian genocide, who was also cut down and assassinated in Berlin on March 15th, 1921 by Soghomon Tehlirian. And then Erdogan is compared to him. He thinks he's going to be a great man like Talat Pasha, the hero of the Azeris and the Turks. Talat Pasha, responsible for the massacre of 2 million Christians, as many as 1.5 million Armenians. And if you just read this, Armenian genocide, this original piece of artwork was created by somebody who was trying to expose the atrocities that Erdogan, the artist is comparing Erdogan to Talat Pasha and the horrific acts that he committed. But somebody in Azerbaijani social media has modified it to praise Erdogan and Talat for their desire to kill Armenians. All right, share this, subscribe, get the truth out there. The Azerbaijani, this report just dropped. It came out. It's extensive, and it's kind of depressing and down. That's why I'm not reading too much of it. But anybody who tells you that, oh no, it's Armenians are the problem, it's like this hatred. It's the core of propaganda and racism. It's to pit two ethnic populations against each other. All right, now let me prove. So I woke up this morning, watched one of my favorite political commentators, podcasters, kind of a center-left guy, and he said, bombshell news. This guy himself has said that he doesn't think Trump is he thinks it's not likely that Trump will end up being president, that any of these lawsuits and in these contentions against the results of the election will be successful, and it's the likelihood that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be sworn into office on January 20th. He's like 90% certain of that. And some of the other people are on the other extreme of that spectrum. Others are more optimistic or depending which side you're on. Others are thinking it's more like 90% that they will succeed. Well, in this video this morning, he pointed at a bombshell, something that just dropped last night. A new lawsuit, and he says, I didn't see this coming. I don't know where he stands. I don't know if he probably still is leaning toward Biden being sworn in. But this was a big bombshell, and he said in his video today, could overturn the results of the election. Now, I just Googled Texas sues. So about the Texas suit. And I Googled it. I just typed in Texas sues and it fills in Georgia and Pennsylvania. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. So I go, because I wanted to read the article that he read. And he said that this one news source got the exclusive. So I look it up and I go, well, that's not it. I looked up this one. I just went to the first one. It's the Texas Tribune. I said, no, this isn't the article that he was talking about, but it's certainly talking about the same subject. In new lawsuit, Texas contests election results in Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. So I read this subhead. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to block the battleground states from casting, quote, unlawful and constitutionally tainted votes, close quote, in the Electoral College. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, experts say. I'm like, wait, that other article doesn't mention anything about like this is editorial. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, experts say. Okay, it's not exactly editorial, but it's news, it's information that's ancillary, that's actually extra, that's completely unrelated to the subject of this article about the lawsuit. This isn't talking about widespread voter fraud. It's talking about unconstitutional actions by some states, unconstitutional election laws being passed or something. And so I'm like, wait, what? So I go back. I'm like, I know which website it was on. And I just decide to see where that website falls in this list of Google, the Google search. So down at the bottom of Google, you see 1 through 10. I went through all of these, and it continues, but I literally went through all 10 pages. And the website that this report was first published on doesn't even come up. Does not come up in 1 through 10. It's not there. And by the time I get to 9 and 10, the results are not even referring to this same article or this same lawsuit. It's like, okay, this is the article, and the website is Breitbart. I had to type in Texas lawsuit or Texas sues Pennsylvania Breitbart. I had to type in the word Breitbart. It didn't even autofill when I started typing it. I had to type it all the way out. You know how it'll autofill? Breitbart is being censored by Google. I've just found the proof. And look at this. It's this article. Where did I find that? This article was published, where's the date? On December 7th. See, December 7th. The lawsuit was filed just before midnight on December 7th. So Breitbart had the exclusive. If I go to this search, all of these, and even the number 1 is the 8th, the 8th, the 8th, all the way down. All of these were published this morning, but Breitbart had it last night, and Google has censored. And this is I get, Breitbart is obviously biased, but they're just reporting on, they're not adding the certain people say, experts say there's no widespread voter fraud or it's debunked. So I don't want to read that bias stuff. I just want to read the article of the exclusive. And I'm not going to read all this, but you can find it. Texas sues Georgia, Michigan. And let me just explain what's going on quickly. This could be the game changer. All these lawsuits are getting thrown out, but this one is filed directly to the Supreme Court. Today is an important day. December 8th is the day that any disputes about electors, about election results, every state is supposed to certify today. No, I guess they're supposed to certify by the end of the day today and then send their electors to Congress, I guess. And so today is the day they're supposed to have all of their disputes resolved. And this was filed just before midnight by Texas, not individuals, not Trump's lawyers, not some random person filing a lawsuit. This is the state of Texas suing 4 other states over the constitutionality of their laws. And to break it down quickly, and you can go and read this yourself, election law is up to the legislatures of the states, not the governors, not the attorney generals, but the legislators. That's what the U.S. Constitution, the federal law that oversees elections. Each state is able to determine their own election laws, but some laws were changed in these states leading up to this election and are deemed unconstitutional, which would essentially undermine the results or make it, I guess, unfair for the other states who abided by the Constitution. In other words, Texas saying, you states were unconstitutional in how you handled your election, and you're actually trying to override your own legislatures. So this lawsuit is essentially, if this isn't resolved by the end of the day today, then the electors that are sent will be contested, which means it's the potential of these 4 states' electors not even counting. And all 4 of them went for Joe Biden. And if only 3 of these states' electors are not counted, Joe Biden won't get to the 270. And then the Constitution has a way to deal with that. And it could result in Donald Trump actually remaining president and getting a second term. That's it. That's all. I'm not going to belabor this any longer. I always say belabor. I use that word too much, belabor. All right. Share this content. It's a long video, but it's the only one I'm posting today.